to 983thelife.com or 98.3 FM, wherever you're listening. I'm your host, Marty Jalove, and you're listening to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. We come at you every single Monday night at 7 o'clock to talk about your job, your career, your vision made clear, the skills that you hone for the business that you own, the ups and downs, the smiles and frowns, where you're at and where you're bound. If you miss any part of this episode, tune in later in the week to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, anywhere you listen to podcasts, almost anywhere you listen to podcasts, pretty much everywhere you listen to podcasts. Every week, I'm on a quest to bring you the industry best. And today I have my returning very special guest, my son, Nate over there. Nate, you got those headphones working now?
We got the headphones working.
All right, let me turn on the correct mic for you there. There we go. Try it now.
Perfect.
All right.
Look beautiful. At that. Headphones are working. Mic's working. We are ready to rip.
Rocking. This is another great Monday. All right. So Nate, you know, we come once a month, the second Monday of every month. We talk about the book here, The Legends of Sales.
I gotta say, the guy that wrote that book, man, he knows sales. My goodness.
And you know what I love about it? He let me put my face on the cover.
Well, it is The Legends of Sales. So it's only, it's only right that your face is on the front.
That's right. You know, I can't be legendary because, you know, I'm lactose intolerant, so I'm not going to be dairy.
All right? It's all about wordplay.
That's it. That's all it is. Wow. You know, that joke started in my head stupid when it came out even worse. Okay.
That's perfect. What else are we here for?
That's right. So we've talked about a bunch of different legends of sales already.
What a ride it's been.
Yeah, we've talked about like Mary Kay Ash. We have talked about, I'm trying to even think of some of the other ones that were some of the classic ones that I really enjoyed. Anybody pop out in your head that you enjoyed since January?
Oh, Marty, you know I love it. Put you on the spot.
You're going to go Mary Kay Ash, right? The one you just said.
Well, pink Cadillacs. How can you get through that?
Exactly. You know it. So nothing that popped out in your head. You know what? It was, who was the guy? The storytelling guy.
Great. The man with
Peter.
the duster.
Yes.
Make the sale into a story.
Jay Peterman. That was it. I knew I could come up with another one.
You never cease to amaze me.
Exactly. Thanks. So this guy's near and dear to my heart. Lake Zurchian, a guy from Lake Zurich. But
they say all good things there in Lake Zurich.
Exactly. But now we're not talking about the Lake Zurich here in Illinois. We're talking about the Lake Zurich in Switzerland.
Well, you know what I say, potato, tomato.
There you go. Why wouldn't you say that, right? All right. There we go. Your better half's heading this way.
You know, someone had to bring the looks and the smarts. I'm just here for the charisma.
Right. Well, you're full of it. All right.
That's it.
Okay. So today we're going to be talking about Carl Jung. All right. Although it's spelled Jung, it's pronounced Young. Okay. So did you read about Carl?
Oh, you mean the chapter on page 95 in The Legend of Sales by Marty Jalove? Of course I did.
This book right here, page 95, you said.
And you know what's interesting?
And I have to check them. Yeah, you're looking at it. I'll buy into that. Yeah. What?
Well, it's just, as we've been going through this.
Yes.
Right. You know me. My job is in operations. I am an operator through and through. I run a team of competent dispatchers who oversee a multitude of drivers. And oftentimes, you know, the mortal enemies of operations is sales.
Yes.
So this entire thing has been very eye-opening for me in seeing kind of the concepts and the mindset that sales use, and how do we as operators make our teams kind of fulfill the promises and the wishes and the dreams that sales delivers. But what I really noticed is all of this, every part of a good sale is rooted in storytelling, but most importantly, connecting with whoever they are selling to. Bravo. And then it is our job to back them up and make their promises good.
There you go.
But it's just been really cool because, like, I honestly, up until now, I never really realized how rooted in connection and storytelling that sales really is. So Carl Jung really kind of drove that home and tailoring it and all that. And it was interesting reading about him.
Did you do any extra research or just the book?
Oh, no. All the research I need. Why would I research more when I know everything we need to know is going to be covered tonight?
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something very exciting.
I'm excited already.
So earlier in this year, I came out with another book specific to an industry, the locksmith industry, right? So it's called the Locksmith Marketing Playbook.
Interesting.
And it's even expanded about the archetypes, because this is really intricate about this one particular industry, how they can use it. But this book is the Locksmith Marketing Playbook, but also for any business seeking security in their strategy.
Which is great, because when you think about locksmith, you kind of put it in just a very small box. But
Yep.
in working with you and talking with you, I'm realizing that is the security industry. And if ever you had to pick a field where you wanted people to fully put trust in you
How
and
about
what
it?
you're selling and who you are, I mean, there is no tougher market than locksmith and security, because
There you go.
that is where people put, all their valuables from top to bottom. And so they want to really connect with their salesmen, but also the company they go with, and feel like that it is going to protect them, keep them safe, and just continue to push them towards further growth.
You are coming so rehearsed today. That's what it sounds like, man.
I'm ripping.
I'm digging this. I'm digging this Nate. You know what? I one day what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to play clips from the first time you were ever on the show.
Oh man.
Remember
that is gonna be tough. Yeah.
Years and years ago.
Yeah, it was rough. And we're throwing to you, Nate, and just crickets in the background. Why they were in the train station, I don't know, but you could hear them.
Exactly. But now you've grown. You're a radio personality.
That's it.
Soon I'm just gonna feel like I don't even have to show up anymore.
Oh,
You're gonna
goodness.
do the
What
whole
would we
thing.
do without you? Master Happiness, the one, the only.
There you go. All right. So, Nate, you know about our show, but our listeners don't necessarily know everything about the show. You know why we call it Bacon Bits, right?
Why do we call it Bacon Bits,
All right,
Marty?
well,
is it because bacon makes everything a little bit better?
Ta-da.
Wow.
I could not have said it better myself. That's it. Every single thing bacon touches, it's that crispy, savory, sweet, salty goodness makes everything better, right?
It goes on desserts. It goes on main courses. It goes in business.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and you're right. And absolutely every business you could possibly think about. But of course, Nate, we are not talking about the bacon for chewing.
Oh, no, Marty. We're talking about the bacon for doing.
That is so true. Awesome job. I think you're adopting this radio Nate voice. I love it.
I'm working on it.
I love it. No,
we'll get there.
It's natural. No, it's perfect. It's perfect. So what we do every week is we use the acronym BACON, our own little bacon, kind of a loose outline, and we're going to see this show already is starting pretty wild. So let's see where we're going to go with this. So this week we're going to be talking about Carl Jung, a psychiatrist from Switzerland back in the 1920s, pre World War I. He worked a lot with Sigmund Freud, and worked with him, got some ideas out of him, but also developed so many other really cool things we're going to touch on. That this is not a show about psychology or psychiatry. This is a show about sales and marketing. So we're going to talk about those things, how they particularly touch sales and marketing. So the BACON we're going to be talking about, this is bridge the collective unconsciousness, just because I like the way that sounds. A is align with your archetypes, and we're going to dig into that. Connect through storytelling, like you just so perfectly introduced there, Nate. O is going to be optimize for emotional engagement, and N is nurture authentic trust. So let's buckle right in here and get into this whole unconscious mind a little bit. So one of the cool things about Carl Jung, not so much mentioned in that book, was Carl Jung, I believe, was the first guy to talk about the difference how we portray ourselves, whether we are introverts or extroverts. Are we the type of person who likes to walk into a room and start walking up to people, or are we the type of person stands off in the corner and wait for people to come to us? What would you consider yourself there, Nate? Are you more introvert or extrovert?
You know what's funny, and I can't believe you threw this question my way, but I actually was thinking about it on the drive-in.
Yeah.
And I was talking with my wife about it a little bit. I would classify myself as a charismatic introvert.
There you go.
Which is,
I love that.
Yeah, and it is the sense of when I'm on, and when I need to be on, I can turn it on, and I can roll in the room. We had a company event recently, and one of our head of IT operations actually referred to me as the mayor. I was out there dealing with the employees, shaking hands, introducing to the family, introducing my wife, having an absolute blast. And then we, a little bit later, we're in a social event where I didn't have to be on, right? We were with friends and we were just hanging out, and I was sitting there thinking, my goodness, I would give anything to be on my back deck, drinking a beer, looking at the sunset, not talking to anybody.
There you go.
And so
I like that.
It's about harnessing yourself and understanding the situation you're in and adapting when you need to. I can do it, but I also like my peace. I like my space, and I like sometimes just being left alone.
You know what I love about this is very few people will see this in me as well. But I'm going to lean towards the same time. Same as you were saying. I lean more towards introversion. I like being on my own by myself, but you put me in front of a crowd, there's a second side of me.
Right.
Okay,
There's a stage and it needs you standing on it.
Exactly.
Right.
I need the right costume. I need something to talk about. But there's plenty of time, just like you, that I would rather, when you're sitting on that back porch drinking a beer, I want to sit on the front porch of your house drinking a beer because I don't even want to talk to you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And sometimes you need that.
Oh, completely.
Your best thinking happens in those times.
One of my hobbies is building those rolling bars.
Yes.
And sometimes the happiest time I have is just being left alone.
Right.
With my tools, building something.
And what's perfect is then I've got a rolling bar on my back deck to store my beer while I'm sitting enjoying my alone time.
See, life, it's the circle of life.
It really is.
That's what it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So this whole part of this extroversion versus introversion, what's really cool about it, and I love this about you, and I would definitely agree with you, and I like that term that you're a charismatic introvert. It's really powerful for us to understand where we are and start to get comfortable with the other side of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now imagine, and we're going to link it back to salespeople, but anyone as a manager, as a spouse, as a friend, remember, we're always selling. We're always selling ourselves. We're selling an idea. We're selling a concept. And so it's really important for us to understand both sides of that and know where we sit and not be afraid of the other side.
Right.
Okay. I think this touches on to this thing that I'm switching the camera over to you, so you'll be on the camera any moment.
That's
so
right.
I want to get your reaction to this. Is that Carl Jung talked a little bit about finding your shadow, those things that you the hidden things you want to try to hide from the rest of the world.
Okay.
Those things that you might maybe be embarrassed about, or whether it's, I don't like the way that I think sometimes like that, or I don't like the fact that I'm afraid to do that, or I don't like the fact that I get angry when I do this. Those things that you want to hide from everyone, you got to get in touch with.
Right.
Okay. And it's really important for us to understand both sides of that, understand who we are in our conscious mind, what we bury in our subconscious mind, who we present to the world, and who we're hiding from the world. Okay.
I really like that. And I think just as a young manager, as someone who's been tasked with a team and everything like that, something that I've just really realized is the number one goal I have every day, every interaction is to be very self-reflective. And
awesome.
Wow, I feel like if you can sit there and actually take the time to genuinely go back and look at your interactions and say, maybe that wasn't my best work. Maybe that wasn't my best sales pitch. Maybe that wasn't my best interaction with one of my direct reports. If you can sit there and really hone in on that, you can then start to form a game plan, start to identify your weaknesses to help you, because those weaknesses may always be there. Those shadows, those things you are scared of might always be there. But if you are aware of them, when you are building your next sales pitch, when you are prepping for your next one-on-one, when you are building your next meeting, okay, here is somewhere I'm going to struggle. You put a little bit of extra focus on that, and it's going to help you come across as confident, and you're prepared. Because when that moment of doubt creeps in, or maybe you have that, that moment where you're like, "Nah, man, this isn't going the way I wanted it to." You've already thought through those scenarios and you've prepared for it.
I'm loving it, man. This is Nate. I love the way you're doing this, because I was going to say, you got to. It's one thing to reflect, but then to say, how am I going to use this in the future? What am I going to do with it? It's I'm looking at so many people don't acknowledge other people, or they don't acknowledge themselves. So I love the fact that you take a little reflective time and just look back and go, wow, how did I handle that? Was that too emotional? Was that too, could I have handled it better? Did I let anger come out? Did I really give that person time to talk? Did I try to own the situation? So in other words, maybe I'm an introvert, and in that particular situation, I pushed myself to be the extrovert and stopped listening to people and just talked over people.
Right.
And it's all kinds of things like that. Am I hiding part of me? Am I hiding my shadows so deep that when push comes to shove, all of a sudden some of that pops out, and I don't want it to pop out.
Right.
Right. And so that's what's so cool. I love that you use that word reflective. That is such a strong word. I'm writing that down if I only had a pen handy. But no, I think it's really important, because too often what we do is we overlook that. We go, I made a mistake, but you don't really think about it.
Right.
And you don't say, how can I improve and become a better person? Okay.
Yep.
So I like this whole idea of understanding. This is just the beginning of this as we dig deeper inside this. Understanding the difference between if you're an introvert or an extrovert. Understanding the difference of what you show the world and versus what you are hiding from the world. And noting those things and seeing, are there things that I can let out? Are there things that aren't that bad? Are there ways of fixing it? But at least acknowledge those things so you know yourself more. Okay.
Right.
And I think when let's just say you're one of those people who just gets angry about something in particular. Okay. And one of the things for me is traffic. I absolutely hate traffic. All right. You've never really seen me get angry, right, Nate?
Right.
No.
Right.
Okay.
Not you.
Not me.
Master
not me.
Happiness.
No,
Could never.
Oh, ta. All right. Yeah. You put me in really rough traffic the wrong time when my mind is like, I just got to get here.
Right.
Oh, I start losing it. But then I have to keep questioning myself. Why are you allowing traffic to affect you so negatively?
Yeah.
Why are you letting that the negative of you come out? And I have to really examine that and you've got to like play the worst case scenario game with yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens? So when you're prepared, when that type of thing happens, when I'm facing traffic, I gotta push myself more to going, it's inevitable. I'm just going to sit there. I'm going to listen to a book on tape. I'm going to listen to music, whatever the deal is. Okay. Just to get through it. It's inevitable. I can't change it.
Use it as a time to reflect.
Yeah, exactly. When I reflect plenty of things on those people in front of me. But anyway, so now we got that kind of thing of understanding, are we introverts, extroverts? Who am I here versus who is what is my shadow, right? The next thing is how Carl Jung did this whole thing of how do we gather information? All right. And we gather information in all four of these ways, the same way, a little bit of each, but we lean towards one way more than the other. Okay. And I love this. One is logical. Are you a logical person where you look at everything in a logical way, where you're saying, well, if, then, etc. Two is, are you more of a feeling focused person? Are you the type of person who goes, oh my God, that would be so sweet, that would be awesome, right? And you make those decisions based on emotion. Fourth would be, are you a sensory type person? Do you make more decisions based on what you see and what you hear and what you taste and what you feel? Okay, your actual senses. Okay, that leans a little bit towards the logical part, but the logical part goes, well, if this, then that, versus sensory is I would need to see it, feel it, touch it, smell it to know that it's true.
Right.
Okay. And then lastly, are you more of an intuition kind of person? You go with your gut feeling. Okay. Do you say, it just doesn't feel right, so I'm not going to do that?
Right.
So when you look at those kind of things, is when you get thrown something, okay, and it's a surprise, do you believe that you are more of the logical thinker? Let's think this through. Are you a more emotional person, whether you get angry, sad, or just like, oh my God, it's adorable, whatever that? Are you more the sensory person? I got to see it to believe it. Or do you believe that you are more of the gut person? I get an intuition, just doesn't feel right. Are there any one of those four that you think you lean more towards?
I'm heavily in the logic.
Okay.
So
cool.
So for me, I try to, especially when making business decisions and leading my team.
Yep.
I immediately try to go to the logical. Working in logistics, I constantly am thrown a curveball. Things go wrong on a daily, sometimes hourly basis. And so as I lead my team and I watch, and it's interesting because I have a very diverse team. I have varying skill sets, varying ages, varying walks of life. And it's interesting watching how my team reacts to a specific response. And it's cool because I have everybody who kind of just goes in a different direction. Some will have an immediate emotional response, be it frustration or being overwhelmed. Just like the minute something goes wrong, it's just like, oh, whatever are we going to do? How are we going to solve this problem? And so for me, it is always logical. So, I was looking at it as like, this is a problem. And then it is a strong combination of logical and gut feeling. I try to always have a very clear understanding of where all of our assets and drivers and units are so that I can go, this is the problem. this is the immediate solution, and then relying heavily on my gut, going, this either has or hasn't worked in the past. Let's take it and let's run with it.
Yep,
And something that I say to my team, and it almost sounds counterintuitive at times, but I love saying it so much they're sick of it. But I always say it's better to be lucky than good.
All right. Okay.
And it's always the idea of my gut response is always to push the envelope, right?
Nice.
Go for it. Try it. Try to make that extra step. Try to make that extra push. And that gut feeling is always steeped in logic, things that I've seen over the past couple of months, trends, whatever.
Sure.
And so I kind of pair the two of them. I try to keep the emotional piece out of it, because in logistics and everything, just because I really, really want the shipper to still accept our truck and I hope that they will.
Right.
It's not going to do it. I say push it, go for it.
Okay.
And all that. But what's interesting is I rely on my team. And so I will pick someone who has a more emotional connection with the shipper. Maybe someone they deal with on a daily basis. And I'll go, hey, pick up the phone, call them quick, ask them nicely if they'll stay open 30 minutes late for us. And so you kind of rely on every piece of it.
I like that. The next thing I was going to ask you is just that. Your team, do you find that your team members have those different characteristics, and do you know enough about them that you can call them on that? And here you just explain, you got one guy who's definitely more emotional. Okay. And so he's going to use that part of it to go out after it.
They call up that sweet friend. Hey, it's me, your buddy. I saw the emails back and forth. They were talking about their vacation earlier in the day and how this and that. And I'm like, that is who's going to call and ask them to stay 30 minutes later.
Right. So I love it when I get people who, I had this one guy, a customer of mine and a good friend, and he comes, he goes, oh, I got to show you these pictures of our vacation. The whole family went there. And he goes, and he opens it up, he looks at me, he goes, you want to see these? And I was like, no, I don't really want to see those. And I go, and then it's kind of like, and he laughed and he started showing me, and I'm like, fine, go ahead, show me, because you want to show them,
right?
But just to make it clear, you want to show them more than I want to see them,
right?
And I tell that to people, and some people are like, wow, that sounds so awful.
No, but makes sense.
Yeah, but the reality is that's what it is. And so if there's something exciting going on in my life and I want to share it with someone, I want to share it with someone who's going to appreciate it.
Right.
I don't want to share it with somebody and then they're like, oh my goodness, that does sound exciting. I don't need the fake sincerity. I'm looking for real connection there. And so I think the more as humanity, the more we can be real about that, and be able to say, that sounds exciting. That is so cool. That is so you. Okay. I don't really want to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay. And it sounds awful, but I think this is just one of the directions we need to learn to be able to do.
And I think as a manager, as a salesman, as somebody in the business world, it's like you said, and this has like hit me like a freight train when you said it. But when you said that Mary Kate said, picture everybody wearing a sign around their neck that says, make me feel important.
Yeah.
That hit me so deep. And sometimes make me feel important, it looks different for all of us.
Yes.
Sometimes it is looking at those photos. And sometimes you have to. And so it's important as a leader, as a salesman, to figure out how to dig deep when you are maybe out of your comfort zone. You don't care about his kid's golf tournament. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to you, but to them it does. And what does matter to you is that connection. And so you have to figure out how to make it matter to you. So that you can form that connection and be genuine and be seen as being genuine.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. That's Nate, man. This is so deep. I feel like I'm running out of things to talk about because you're stealing everything right out of my head. Because I do agree with you. It's just like I said about this. He's a good friend of mine, and he's going to show me something like that. There are, whether it's customers or it's people I really care about that I can see they're going to get some joy out of it. I'm going to get joy out of watching them brag and just have fun with it. I don't need to see 30 pictures of a kid jumping off a board into the lake. Okay. Or jumping off a raft into the lake or whatever. I don't need to see that. I just want to experience the joy that person's having. Showing me those pictures. And it's everything. But then when you're in sales and marketing, you've got to find a way to make it to connect to your customers in a real basis. You don't want to fake that, because as soon as you fake it, you create a different type of connection that when you break it, when you finally become who you really are, you lose all trust, all credibility with your customer. So be who you are from the beginning. Okay. I always go back to when I was younger, it was this idea of dating, and you'd meet a girl, and what you did was you became anything you thought that girl wanted you to be.
Right.
Okay, if you like, oh, you like going, you like romance movies, love them. You want to go to the opera? I would love to, that kind of thing. And then what happens is you try to become the person that she wants you to be. And sometimes I think girls do that for guys as well. They try to be the person that the guy wants to be. Any type of couple. But what happens is then that's not real.
Right.
And if a bond is formed later on, suddenly you realize then it looks like somebody has changed. Yet in reality, the only change is they finally felt comfortable enough with you to be themselves. So you are better off just being honest and open in a relationship, honest and open right from the very beginning, and attract the right type of person. Just like in a business, not try to be everything to everyone.
No, be very true to yourself.
Yeah, and this is what we sell, right?
Right.
Yeah,
And that open and that connection. And there are people that will value that. And there are times that maybe a sale might not go through, but that person is going to remember you being genuine and honest. And there are times that if they get burned, they're going to go, you know what? Maybe I didn't connect with him on that much of a level, but I know he's not going to steer me wrong. He's going to be very straightforward, and that connection, and that will actually build later on.
There you go. I love it. So this is this whole, we've been talking a lot about the B is the bridge to the collective unconscious. And it's this idea of what's going on behind us, within us, digging down deep inside, understanding who we are. Too often what we do is we take for granted the way we act.
Yeah.
And sometimes we feel that everyone acts that way. Everyone responds the same way we do. And then we're surprised when people respond differently than we do.
Right.
All right. And so it's important to dig in deep of who we are and study not only your employees, the people who work with you, but study your peers, the people who you work for, study your customers, study your competitors. How do they go to market? How do they, what are they hiding? What are their shadows? What are they introverts? Are they extroverts? How do they handle the crowd? How do they go to market? That's what's so important. So now I want to jump into this A, which is align with your archetype. Okay. And this is for that. I'm going to open up the other book. Like I said, the Locksmith Marketing Playbook.
What a book. I can't wait to read it.
This is a nice one. I thought, I'd given away a bunch of copies, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I don't have another copy, but I was okay. So we got about 12 different archetypes here.
Okay.
Right? And so what I'm going to do is kind of read them to you one at a time. And somewhere in the middle of this, we're going to take a break. But I want you to think about this and say to yourself, like on a scale of 1 to 100, where do you think you're at?
Okay.
And I'll do the same kind of thing. All right. And then try to find where you lean towards. Okay. So the first one, these are only in alphabetical order here. The caregiver. This is the archetype. This is the type of person who focuses on compassion, service, and nurturing. Okay. This goes a lot of people in the healthcare industry, nonprofits, charity, and childcare. So compassion, service, and nurturing. In other words, it's not just being nice to people. It's going out of your way to really help people. Like that's what you get, so much joy. You get that energy, that power from helping people. You strive to do that more so than just doing your job. It's the striving to, I'm not a success unless I've taken care of people.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it's really specific. So I look at that and say, I wish I could say I'm strong as a caregiver. I'm okay at a caregiver, but knowing there's 12 different archetypes, I'm going to say this is on the bottom half of where my strengths are.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I'm a 0 at this. Okay.
Right.
But it's not my driving force.
Right.
On the opposing side, I'm not going to hurt people. I'm not interested in that, but it's truly caring and nurturing and being compassionate is good, but it's not my driving force.
Yeah.
Okay. And so there's no wrong or right or wrong answer, wrong or right answer. It's just who you really are.
Yeah.
All right. The next one here is the creator. This is a person driven by imagination, artistry, innovation. This is a lot of art and design, technology, entertainment. Okay. So for this one, for me, it's much higher.
Right.
Okay.
Which I see that in you.
Yeah.
Constantly.
I want to come up with something. All right. It's just my head has got to be thinking, how do I create this? What do I do this? I joke about, and I mentioned the bars I'm always building, but I build so many of those in my head long before I start pulling out the wood and playing with them.
Right.
I mean, I've got all the corners done. I know what screws I'm going to put in, how it's going to come together, because I like creating in my head. So how would you rate yourself as a creator?
I would say that I used to be higher as a creator.
Okay.
Honestly,
Yeah.
just as a younger boy, just
It's honestly.
building, yeah, just building with Legos
Yeah.
and all of that. And so there is still that element, but I would still say that that is most likely in the bottom half. It's higher up. We would say probably that's running like 6 or 7.
Okay.
So there and kind of the something always strive for is like the outside of the box thinking.
Gotcha.
And so
Gotcha.
kind of pushing that, but it's not a super strong driving force in me.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. So we're going to take a momentary break just to say thanks for the people who sponsor or love this station and introduce you to some of the other shows. But we'll be right back with more.
I can't wait.
Carl Jung. All right. So stay tuned, everybody. Hey, and we are back. Thank you so very much for staying tuned in to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. I'm your host, Marty Jalove. And of course, I have my son here, Nate Filippelli. And we are
excited to be here.
I had your volume up but the mic off. There you go.
Goodness.
There you go. You're back. So today we're talking about Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist from pre-World War I, but he created a lot of things. He was the first person to talk about the us being introverts versus extroverts, taking a look at our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, looking at what we share with the world and what we hide. And we're getting into now the archetypes. 12 different archetypes that he says is based around what we see, what we envision, where we want to be, how we identify with ourselves, the types of people we are looking for. The old adage of we look for, opposites attract. Oftentimes, what we do is we look for people who fill in those gaps. And sometimes a great union, whether it be a visionary and an implementer in a business, or it's a couple who are married, they complement each other. They have different strengths, and this is what's really, really important: is understanding who you are and understanding who the people you work with, live with, etc. It's good to know who your competitors are, who your customers are, your employees, your employers, your peers, everyone. The more you can analyze like that, I'm going to use that word that Nate was saying, the more you can reflect on that, reflect on those situations, find out who they are, and then work on that and see how you can improve that communication in the future. So far we talked a little about the caregiver and the creator. All right. And I'm just going to say a really quick thing about the creator, Nate, is like we talked, I'm definitely more of a creator. That's the type of person I am. You're a little less, but I liked how you talked about when you were younger, and you mentioned Legos. Okay. And I loved Legos my entire life. And I think that Lego, the company Lego, which will never be a sponsor for the show, because every time I mention it, I knock them. I think that they did the humanity a disservice by creating all these specialty pieces.
Oh, man.
Okay. Because now it takes no thought.
Right.
Okay. It used to be, here's a box of red and a box of blue and a box of yellow, make something.
And interestingly enough, that's what I grew up with. And I actually used to, one of the things I did was, growing up, we had all the basic pieces,
Yep.
but I couldn't ever, we didn't have the money to buy the specialized pieces.
Yeah.
And so I would sit there and I would look at a set and I would look at something and I go, all right, I want to build that. And it might be as simple as I was going through the neighborhood and I saw a gutter truck or something.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember very specifically building one. And so I went home and I looked at the pieces that I had and I said, how am I going to replicate this with what I have to get it as close as I can?
But now it's gone. It's gone. What happens now is, here's a box with a picture on the cover and the instructions step by step how to make that with the pieces that are in here. So
Right.
it's taken all out of that imagination. But again, that's my my rant on a lot of toys.
Yeah.
Not just Lego. All right. So we've done the caregiver, the creator. The next is the everyman. All right. The everyman is that average kind of guy, the guy we all know. He's centered on belonging, connection, authenticity. This is someone who usually works retail, maybe, the guy you'd see behind the counter, maybe home goods, furniture stores, etc., or media, like maybe doing TV shows or something like that. Just being in touch with people and just being coming across equal with everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. And so for that type of thing, I think that I'm kind of low on that as well.
Right.
Okay. I do enjoy time spending with people I like and just being on an equal plane. But I really strive for people that are intelligent, more intelligent than me, and offer me the opportunity to learn something, or people that offer me the ability to teach them.
Yeah.
So being the everyman, just playing it safe like that, I'm a little it's a little of a lull for me.
Right.
What about you?
I feel kind of the same way, and I'd like to use the example. I play hockey, and
Yeah.
I would argue that I am not very good, right?
Oh,
I am mediocre
No,
at
I've
best.
seen you. You're
But
amazing.
yeah, yes, you have. But one of the things that I love is I play pickup hockey on Saturdays
Yeah.
and Sundays, and I always love when there's a lot more skilled players there
Yes.
because I find that I immediately step up to elevate myself. And I remember being on the bench and talking to another guy who was about the same skill set as
Uh-huh.
me, and he was kind of lamenting that the other players were so much better than him.
Yeah.
And I said, I completely disagree. I said, I love playing with these guys because I try to step harder, skate harder, push harder,
There you go.
because it is so much more satisfying for me to be able to bring myself up to their level. I always want to surround myself
Yep.
with people who are a little bit higher caliber than
You
me
need
so
to,
that
right.
I can it just you look around and you go, well, everybody else is skating like this, doing like this, passing like this, and you want to step up and elevate yourself to that. Never be complacent with where you are. And that's not to say that is not a good role, and
No, I
everybody
think
needs
it's
to
I think it's
have
a
those
really good idea.
roles.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you that extra drive, I build off of seeing people around me succeeding or being better than me, because I'm like, I want that level, I want to be that good.
I think that it's great because you want to go out of your way to learn something from people who are better than you, and then flip it around and share what you learned with other people.
Right.
And I think if you got that mindset, again, flipping it back to sales and marketing, if you have that type of mindset, like, hey, I just learned all this really cool stuff, I want to share it with the right customers who need these answers. Tremendous, because you're going to attract customers who want that information from you.
Right.
Okay, so after the everyman, the explorer. Okay, and the explorer is the kind of guy he embodies freedom, adventure, and discovery. This is more like travel and tourism, obviously, outdoor goods, automotive industry. People who are looking for something, like doing something a little bit more adventurous. I'm kind of the adventurous guy through the TV lens. Okay,
Right.
I like watching a good adventure, not taking part in it.
No.
Okay, versus I would say on the flip side, you lean a little bit more towards adventure.
I do, and your beautiful daughter is always
Yes.
pushing me out of my comfort zone. Again, as I've stated before, I love sitting on the back deck and enjoying a beer. But a conversation that we've had is we have never gone on an adventure, something she's planned, going, let's do this, let's go here, let's check this out, that I haven't immediately gone, wow, I had a really great time. I actually enjoyed doing this and kind of stepping out of my comfort zone in this. So
go ahead.
Sometimes I take a little bit more of a push, but I'm always down to try something, a new type of food, a new place, something like that.
Cool. So it's really neat because the two of you found each other, and she wants to do that. She wants to find those things, those adventures, but she doesn't want to do those adventures on her own.
Right.
So she has found you, a person who's willing to do those things.
Right.
So that's what makes you guys a really powerful couple.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So after the explorer, we get into, and I'm going to move quicker because I'm like at 7:40. We got a few left to go.
We got so much good stuff to talk about.
The hero. All right. The next one is the hero. This is the guy who stands for courage, determination, and triumph. Okay. Obviously, there's like the fitness and sports guys. Okay. Emergency service, firefighters, etc., and motivational coaching and personal development. Okay. So there's a little bit about that. It's where everyone finds their spot where they're like, I am the champion. I'm the conqueror. And I feel that when I'm on the stage in front of a group of people, like, I got a message I'm going to share with you. I want to change your life, And then I got my brother Joe, who was a fireman for most of his life. And I remember him telling me the story.
A real hero.
Yeah, a real hero. No, I always said he was almost the hero.
Right.
My cousin Adam was a cop, so he had to fight the bad guys and help people. Right. So he was the real hero. So anyway, but Joe would do these things and he would take it casually. Like, isn't it the way everyone is? And it's like, no, not everyone is like that. You put your own safety aside to go help somebody else. So that's a perfect example of how different people are.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you put Joe on the stage in front of a group of people, I don't know what the hell he would talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it would be something.
Exactly. So as far as the hero type, what do you think? 50-50 for you, or where are you?
I'd say I'm a little bit higher end. I like having the answers. I like having the solutions to a problem. To me, that is a bit of a rush to be able to, there's times that I'm out working with another team or something like that, and I will step into my team's office, and they will be just in the trenches trying to figure something out. And so being able to quickly take their intel, add my experience, and go, all right, in this situation, let's do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And then watching them execute it.
Right.
To me, that does something, you
Okay.
know, and it's like for me, there is a rush in that. And so I do like that. I chase that a little bit.
Nice.
And so it's just nice being, you know, I like when people lean on me for stuff because I know I can execute, and you know, if rubber meets the road, I'm going to buckle down and figure out the problem.
I love it. So take a look at this from the sales and marketing standpoint. I'm going to present to a group because that's what I'm going to feel that energy standing in front of a group and talking to them, feeling high on that, and just talking off the cuff and moving quickly. On the flip side, someone who would know me knows that if they can feed that part of my ego, if they can feed that in me, like going, oh my God, you're tremendous, you really need this would be amazing, that type of thing, I'm going to buy from them.
Right.
And so that's the importance of understanding who you are and who who my customers are.
Right.
The step forward beyond that is understand and reflect upon yourself so much that you know that's how salespeople sell to me.
Right.
So let's turn it back. Okay. Where suddenly I like to say that I'm a logical thinker, but then suddenly, based on the way that salesperson comes to me, suddenly I'm making gut decisions emotionally. Right.
Yeah.
And I let logic go because they played me because of my archetype.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what's really important. And this is why it's so important to understand people. We go back to the basics about all of these things. All the people we're talking about, the legends of sales, always goes back to what I bring the top three things is know your customer. That's the first one, is really understand them deeply. Know yourself as well, but tell or share great stories. Right. We talked about this all the time. And this is like every one of these. You tell a story about a hero, you're going to get me something. Right. And then lastly, to keep customers is you have to over deliver. Don't just meet your promises, go beyond that. So those three things, if you always remember those three things, is know your customers, share great stories, and over deliver, you will have customers for life.
Right.
Okay. All right. So after the hero comes the innocent, almost quite opposite. That's lives in simplicity, optimism, purity. This is again health and wellness more. Okay. Mindfulness, childhood and education, hospitality, where they're more like the servant, like you lead the way. I will provide you things. Okay. Not so much, although I said health and wellness, I'm not talking about a doctor or a nurse who is saying you need to do this. This is more, what would you like to do? Let me help you de-stress. Yeah. I'm going to play more innocent with you. Okay. And so that to me is, I'm pretty far from that.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to be a little bit more aggressive when the things I talk about.
Right.
Okay. But again, you can see there are people definitely like that. Now we get into the next one, the jester. Okay. And the jester is the kind of guy who represents joy, fun, and humor. Okay. It's the people in the entertainment industry, the food and beverage. And, can you imagine a bartender who's not going to be joyful, fun?
It's terrible. You go into that bar and you almost feel like an inconvenience to them because you're expecting them to engage you and be, because again, they are selling their services. They're selling themselves. They want you to stay there and keep drinking. They don't want you to come in for one drink and give them $1 for your beer and leave.
And the bartender, in our mind, is never allowed to have a bad day.
Right.
Because I'm supposed to go there to have a bad day. He's helping me. I'm not there to help him.
Yep.
So it's a whole different mindset. So a lot of that event and party planners fall into that same thing.
Yep.
Okay. Then you get into the lover. Okay. This is someone who is a lot of passion, intimacy, beauty. This is obviously the fashion industry, the hospitality industry, and again, food and beverage. It's that whole idea of adding that intimacy, the passion, just that type of thing, of making it even more, taking it a step behind. Whereas the jester is more comedy based, this is more feeling based, where we want to bring this out. We want us to feel like our absolute best. Okay. So again, that's the type of thing. I'm definitely more jester than I am the lover. Okay. Yeah. And I don't know, where do you see yourself, jester versus lover?
I would say I'd lean more towards the jester.
Yes, I would agree with you there. If you said lover, I would have turned your mic off.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're getting down to the end, and I'm just watching the time here because I want to just discuss them a little bit at the end. Only the last four here. The magician. This is he's full of transformation, innovation, and vision. Right? He's looking at that what if. He's the kind of guy that does a lot of stuff with the gut instinct.
Yep.
Okay. This is where there's again wellness and spirituality. Could be technology based of going, this is where we're at right now, but what if we could do this? What if we can create something in the future? There's also, that is also in the entertainment industry where they're creating stories. All right, that's the magician doing something the unexpected. And I'm going to compare it to this one, and they're just in alphabetical order. The outlaw, rooted in rebellion, revolution, and nonconformity. All right, so that could be fashion, technology again, and media. Similar, but two different ways of looking at it. One is playing the what if, and the other one of going, I dare you to cross this line,
Right.
More of the rebellion. And it's cool because I like both of these because at times, being in advertising and marketing, I lean towards both of those of what if. When I was heading an R&D team, everything was what if. Well, here's a problem. What if we could solve that problem? What if we could do this? And luckily I had a bunch of people around me who could do that. On the outlaw side, as goofy as it seems, but look at the shirts we're wearing.
Right.
This nonconformity here. We're saying, I dare, we're dare to be different.
Yep.
Okay. And that's what's important, is that's how you stand out. You have to have so much confidence in yourself that you can live up to your true archetype. Okay. So where do you think yourself? The magician, the what if part, or the outlaw, the rebellion, nonconformist?
It's that's been a struggle for me, because I would say I strove a lot stronger on the outlaw side.
Yes.
That was what I was. And it's taking a lot of kind of deep digging, because I want to be the magician.
Yeah.
The kind of the visionary, the challenging the norm. And so shifting my focus from challenging the norm and looking at something going, well, that's dumb, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to run It's the Nate Show, buckle up, to going, how do I make the Nate Show the reality? How do I push the envelope within the confines, so that I'm bringing new ideas, and instead of them being from a more rebellious, which tend to put upper management on a defensive, or if you're a salesman, might put your customer on the defensive. They're going, well, this is way too left field, to kind of going and repackaging that as a what if, as a something to strive for. I feel like the magician is more motivating.
Yep.
And it's all about, it's kind of, it really digs down to the pitch and how they go about it.
Right. And I think there, again, I'm going to go back to this whole thing. There's nothing wrong with one. There's not one that's better than the other. We're different, and it's based on how we feel about it. And if it's not our true self, so it could be this whole thing that rebellion is something, or the rebel, or the outlaw is that person you want to put in your shadow.
Right.
It's the person you don't really want to be. That's part of you. But be true to yourself. Understand that's who you are. And we talked a little bit about that idea of contrast, conform, and connect.
Yep.
Okay. Be the outlaw to contrast, to get people's attention and go, who is this guy? All right. Then become more of the magician when you want to conform, and you finally sit down and they go, who are you? And you sit down and you're saying, look, I'm just an average guy. I just did this to attract you.
Yep.
To attract your attention. And now that we're talking, I want to hear about this, because let's create something that's never been done before.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I like that.
And I think that combination is really, really strong. And understand, but it's got to understand who you are. Be true to yourself. There are things in here that I could say that I really like. I'm much lower in that. And to fake that, it takes so much effort. It would be so stressful, and I would drop it. And then people would see through me, and I would lose credibility.
Right.
So be true to yourself. That's why there's 12 different ones. All right. The last two here, all right, are the ruler and the sage. All right. So the ruler is all about control, leadership, and authority. All right. This is a finance person, maybe working in a bank, legal services, lawyer, etc. Corporate leadership, management, that type of person who's taking over and saying, you've got to follow me here. Remember, we talked about a little bit about the innocent being, I'm going to suggest ideas and I'm going to help you along the way. The ruler here is the one who's saying, no, this is the way it has to be done. There is no question. I'm not asking for your opinion. These are the rules. Okay. So that's the ruler. The sage is all about knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. This is someone who's going to be more in education, maybe publishing, consulting, and research. This is the type of person who is the guide, right? He's like, got a bunch of information and I'm going to push you in this direction. If I'm pushing you saying you have to do this, I'm leaning more towards the ruler. So let's say for me, someone who says, I'm going to hire someone like Marty as a consultant for my business. All right, he's going to be a sage. He's a wise guy. He knows what we need to do. Is he leaning more towards being a ruler or an innocent? In other words, is he going to say you need to do this, or is he going to go, well, here's an idea, do what you want to do? Okay.
Right.
And so in order to be successful as a business leader, I have to have some ruler inside me.
Right.
I have to have jester because I want people to enjoy working with me. I have to have a little bit outlaw so that I stand out amongst my competition. And I have to be really strong as a sage, a knowledgeable person, giving them the information they want.
Yep.
Okay. So that's the 12 of them. Out of the ones that I know, it's 12. It's hard to remember all of them. Where do you think if you were to describe yourself in all of that, where do you think are the ones that you're the strongest? I'll even hand you the book if you want.
No, we're locked and loaded.
All
We came in ready to go. No, I would say that the strongest one I'm in is the ruler, right? I have a team that I run, and it's based on a strong core of the sage, the magician, and the outlaw.
Gotcha.
So I lead my team, and we're very definite in the decisions that we make, and what I say does or doesn't go in my office is based on something that I feel in absolute about. But the reasons that I feel that way are often inspired by either things that I have, like wisdom that I've picked up from leaning on other people who are sages. We've got our head of IT and operations is just an incredible resource.
Nice.
And
yes.
I lean on them constantly. We were even talking through some things today. And so I go, this is my absolute. And then I will go to them and I'll go, all right, what do you like? What sort of insight? Yeah. And they're like, maybe tweak this and this. But then I know because I have their wisdom backing me,
right,
it has grown my own wisdom and understanding of a situation. And so that when I lead it to my team, I go, this is what it is. And then working to, lead by it. But even there's like a little bit of the outlaw in the sense of like, I make the rules and they might not be correctly in line with everything else, but the rules that I then enforce are a little bit based in outside of the box thinking or pushing the envelope.
Okay, cool. So what do you think if someone was going to sell you something, Nate? What do you think is the easiest way for them to push your button? Like, what is the way that they get to you that you'd be like, man, you made me want to buy it? Like, what archetype? What's that thing inside you that they could pull out? Like I told you a little bit about the idea for me is that hero type. If they can play against that, where I want the stage, they could sell me something. There's plenty of other things, but anything stand out for you?
I think honestly, the sage, like if you can sell me on an idea that is rooted in experience and wisdom, and very, very factual, as I've said, I've got a logical mind and all that. So if you can show me that whatever this is the based off of experience or whatever, there's a lot of wisdom and knowledge behind it. That's going to be the thing that I latch onto most, because it's easy to then, as a ruler, take that and execute it, because I fully buy into it. I go, it's grounded. There's wisdom behind it. It's not a wishy-washy kind of concept. So then I can take that to my team and implement it strongly. So for me, that's what I'm looking for.
I love it. See, and so this is really cool to understand who you are, what your strengths are, so that you don't rely on an archetype that's not you, that doesn't define you. Understand that, but then also understand that people who know that might sell you on that. They'll see that in you. And so allow it to happen sometimes, because that's going to bring you the most amount of joy, but also see through it and understand that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're almost out of time. We're right down to the last few minutes. So I'm going to go over this. So we did the B for the bridge, the collective unconscious. This is this idea of really tapping into inside of us, what we show to the world versus our shadow. Okay. We aligned our archetype. We talked about these 12 different archetypes. All right. And it seems like, wow, did we get it past the letter A? But C was connect through storytelling. And I think it's really important that we touched on that throughout the entire hour here, that every one of these, when you are dealing with a hero, you tell stories about how a hero succeeded. If I'm talking about a ruler, The way I'm going to advertise it or sell to you is I'm going to talk about a ruler, how a ruler succeeded. If you're a sage, I'm going to talk about how it was knowledge that won. And this is how you pitch to those people. All right. That's how you connect through storytelling. O is you optimize for emotional engagement. You work on that because no matter what it is, no matter if I'm a logical person, if I think with my gut, if I have to see it to believe it, I can always get people by talking emotions. All right. People want to buy things that they love. They want to buy things that solve their pains and problems. And then finally is nurture that authentic trust. And we just really talked about that over and over and over again today about being authentic, being your true self over and over again. Don't fake it, because as soon as they see through it, as soon as they realize you're faking it, you will lose all credibility.
Right.
So that's it. So we're down right now to the last 2 minutes, Nate. If you're going to wrap it up, what's your final thoughts? What was the big takeaway for today? What was the thing you learned, whether it's during the hour here or reading up on Carl Jung? I think one of mine is that the J is silent, but that's not as deep as we want to go.
I think the really big one is just taking the time to understand and really think through your archetypes. And it's going to help you both with picking a salesperson, because you think, is this what is this person playing to? And is this what, like, do I want them to?
Yeah.
You know, do you want somebody to pitch you a hero thing because that's what they think you want, when really we are looking for a sage, or maybe you're looking for a caregiver more type role. So really being grounded in what your archetypes are.
I like it.
And then connecting with a sales team, or if you are a salesman, really, as you're getting to feel out your customers, doing your research to find out what the archetypes are. Because again, like I said, I relate highest to a ruler, but I'm not looking for a salesman who is leading or trying to sell to me with the ruler archetype. I want the sage type to build off of. So kind of what you're looking for.
I love it. I love it. So I'll tell you what we're going to do this cool way is, so from the book, the Legends of Sales. Okay. And so this is the 7th month we've been doing this, and we've been grabbing a different chapter. So I'm going to flip through here, and I'm going to do this, is that it's going to be Dale Carnegie. All right. So Dale Carnegie a month from now. All right. And Dale Carnegie, that's really cool, because he was like a pioneer in self-improvement. He goes way back. So I'm going to mark that one. So in a month from now, that is going to be August, the 2nd Monday in August, we're going to be talking about Dale Carnegie, what you can learn from Dale Carnegie, and how you can become a better salesperson, how you can become a better marketer, how you can be just a better version of yourself. Okay. The greatest thing I learned about today with Carl Jung is that whole idea that every one of those archetypes is not only a definition of who we are, or not only a definition of our customers, but it is the fodder for stories. Yeah. It's the more I can tie a story to that type of archetype that means something to that customer, the better chance I have of selling them. So that's my big takeaway, and we're almost out of time. So thank you all very much. Thank you, Nate. Always an incredible pleasure. Loved your energy today. I'm going to drink a little bit of what you were having earlier. Okay.
That's right. Good to be here, Marty.
All right. And next week, I don't know what's going on yet, but please, if you missed any part of today's episode, tune in later in the week to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Until then, ta-ta, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
WRLR 98.3 FM LP, Round Lake Beach, Illinois. MLP, Round